let's get this. Starting at 24. But Zedekiah, the son of Canaaniah, went near and smote Micaiah on the cheek and said, which way went the Spirit of the Lord from me to speak unto thee? So, you can see one of these other prophets smote Micaiah on the cheek for what he said. 25. And Micaiah said, behold, thou shalt see in that day when thou shalt go into an inner chamber to hide thyself. And the king of Israel said, take Micaiah and carry him back unto Ammon, and Ammon the governor of the city, and Joash the king's son, and say, thus said the king, put this fellow in prison and feed him with the bread of affliction and with the water of affliction until I come in peace. And Micaiah said, if thou return at all in peace, the Lord have not spoken by me. And he said, hearken, O people, every one of you. See, so they wanted to put him in prison and treat him harshly because he was speaking the true words of the Lord, which if you do that, that's what you're gonna run into. You're not gonna have millions of followers and things of that nature, speaking this true word of the Lord, like some of these pastors that you see on TV. They not speaking the true word. That's why they got millions of followers, because they speaking smooth things. Now back to the account. Let's start at 29. So the king of Israel and Jehoshaphat, the king of Judah, went up to Ramoth Gilead, and the king of Israel said unto Jehoshaphat, I will disguise myself and enter into the battle, but put thou on thy robes. And the king of Israel disguised himself and went into the battle. But the king of Syria commanded his 32 captains that he had rule over his chariot, saying, fight neither with small nor great, save only with the king of Israel. And it came to pass, when the captains of the chariots saw Jehoshaphat, that they said, surely it is the king of Israel. And they turned aside to fight against him. And Jehoshaphat cried out. And it came to pass, when the captains of the chariots perceived that it was not the king of Israel, that they turned back from pursuing him. So they seen Jehoshaphat, which was the king of Judah, but they was really looking for Ahab, the king of Israel, just to, so you can be following and understanding. 34. And a certain man drew a bow at a venture and smote the king of Israel between the joints of the harness. Wherefore he said unto the driver of his chariot, turn thy hand and carry me out of the host, for I am wounded. And the battle increased that day, and the king was stayed up in his chariot against the Syrians, and died at even, and the blood ran out of the wound into the midst of the chariot. And there went a proclamation throughout the host about the going down of the sun, saying, every man to his city, and every man to his own country. So the king died and was brought to Samaria, and they buried the king in Samaria. So as you can see, with that disobedience, not being obedient to who the Lord sent, he died, man. He died, and that's just letting you know, when you don't hearken to the voices of the true men of the Lord, then hey, it's gonna be a consequence with that, And I want to get a scripture. Let's go to the book of Jeremiah, chapter 3, starting at 15. And it said, I will give you pastors according to my heart, which shall feed you with knowledge and understanding. See, so the Lord Yahweh Hashem Yahushua, he gonna give us pastors according to his heart, and that's gonna feed you knowledge and understanding. And some of that ain't gonna be just smooth things and bright things all the time, And let me back that up real quick. Let's go to the book of 1 Corinthians, chapter 1. Let's start at verse 25. because the foolishness of God is wiser than men, and the weakness of God is stronger than men. For ye see your calling, brethren, how that not many wise men after the flesh, not many mighty, not many noble are called. But God have chosen the foolish things of the world to confound the wise, and God have chosen the weak things of the world to confound the things which are mighty, and the base things of the world and things which are despised have God chosen, yea, and the things which are not, to bring to naught things that are. See, so the Lord, he don't work with, all these celebrity pastors or these celebrities who trying to break down scriptures. He don't do that. He use men that are lowly, men that are considered weak, and not just weak, like he can't lift 300 pounds, just weak because, basically he have no power in his hands, to ward off our enemies. Like Israel as a whole, we are considered weak because we don't have a standing army. We don't run this current system, or it could be somebody that's, he might work a regular 9 to 5, he might not have a car. If he do, it ain't the best car, but guess what? The Lord can use that man to convey his word, because the Lord is trying to, he don't deal with carnality. And if you don't hearken to that man, you like, oh, that's Joe that work at KFC. I ain't really, no. But if he conveying his word, guess what? He a true man of the Lord, and you need to hearken to Joe that work at KFC, because he could be feeding you with certain information that, that's coming straight from on high. And that's how the Lord do to snare you, to rule out carnality, because, the Lord, he dealing with the spirit, He dealing with the spirit. That, like I said, Yahweh Shah, when he came lowly. They didn't think about Noah. He prophesied for 27 years. They didn't know the Noah that we know today. Because best believe if they would have took Noah serious, guess what? A lot more people would have been in that ark. But it wasn't the Lord's will, of course. And they didn't hearken to his word. They just seen him as a regular dude, as somebody insignificant. Yeah, it's like akin to say if you tell one of your kids, hey, go tell your brothers and sisters they better clean up their room, or I'm gonna come in there and, tear their butts up. Well, if you got a kid that's 12 and 15, but the kid that's 7 come in there and convey that message, then guess what? That message that kid is coming to convey holds power over whatever the older ones say, even though they might look at him like the little brother or sister and you can't tell us what to do. Once he said mama said or daddy said, guess what? His message is power. It got power behind it, and that's the same way we need to think about, the true men of the Lord that's conveying this word to you. When they tell you something, there's power behind that, because the Lord, Yahweh Hashem Yahushua, they ain't about to get off their throne and deal with y'all niggas. You know what I'm saying? So, like every great king, what they do, they set up men. They give them men certain tasks, certain things to do. Let me go to Luke chapter 10, starting at 16. Hold on one second. Luke chapter 10, starting at 16. He that heareth you, heareth me. And he that despise you, despise me. And he that despise me, despises him that sent me. So what that means? If you got a true man of the Lord conveying the word, and you hear it, you hearing Yahweh Shah. And if you hearing Yahweh Shah, you hearing Yahweh, And if you despise that man of the Lord, because he seem insignificant, he don't have the riches, the fame, the money, then you despising Yahweh Shah. And if you despising Yahweh Shah, then you despising Yahweh. That's how the order goes, man. Because a lot of times, we think that these people with these high statuses is the end all be all, but they not. Exodus chapter 7, starting at verse 1. And the Lord said unto Moses, see, I have made thee a god to Pharaoh, and Aaron thy brother shall be thy prophet. Thou shalt speak all that I command thee, and Aaron thy brother shall speak unto Pharaoh, that he send the children of Israel out of his hand. See, so the point I'm trying to make is, the Lord said, I have made thee a god over Pharaoh. And at that time, Pharaoh had the money, he had the status, but Moses was a god to him. So if you a true man of the Lord, if you around a man of the Lord, guess what? He is over the president. He over these celebrity with making billions and millions. He's over that. If he's rightly dividing the word of truth and sincerity, guess what? That man is over anybody who you deem to be somebody in this society. Point blank, period. And you need to be obedient to who the Lord set up to convey this word in truth and sincerity to you, And with that, I hope you was edified. Until the next time, Shalom.